Last year, I launched 5 programs and all of them failed. No one bought, and if someone bought, it was $50 here, $200 here, but none of them filled. And I felt like I was speaking into the void. Despite me applying all these right strategic moves, I still didn't see any success. I had to look at one thing. And when I started looking at that one thing, my income exploded. This year, it's like a switch has flipped. Everything has changed. I don't want to hold back in this video because more people need to know about this, hear about this, because the world is so focused on strategy, on masculine energy of doing, working harder, showing up more, which of course you gotta work hard. You gotta do the thing that is going to move the needle for you in your business. But if this one thing is not in the right place, you will find yourself being blocked from creating the life, the income that you desire. That one thing that I'm talking about is your nervous system. And I know, I talk about this a lot here, but this video will be slightly different because I actually want to give you the 3 things that I did, the 3 tools that have allowed me to this year flip everything around in my business by realizing that these 5 programs that I was launching last year, it got me to this point of understanding that it wasn't my strategy, but it was my nervous system. The first tool, the first thing that I have done to help me shift everything was to focus on a safety before strategy. The majority of my life, of the creation mode I was in my business, I was operating from this state called fight or flight. I was literally creating my business in a state of survival. I didn't have fun, or if I had fun, it was very scarce. It wasn't fully embodied fun. I was just putting myself out there because I wanted to make money and I wanted to quite literally survive. And there's a sweet spot between realizing like, okay, my business needs to generate money, but also if you're constantly in that survival state, well, guess what? Your energy is gonna portray that. Your people are gonna feel that energy and you're gonna push these people away rather than attract them to you. I had to realize that a lot of the programs that I was launching, the content that I was putting out, the way that I was even being was from a survival state. It was really from a fight or flight energetic standpoint, which wasn't allowing me, to actually create, again, as I was saying, from fun and from creativity and innovation, but it would be from this state of like, I hope people are gonna buy. I hope this is gonna work. I hope this is not gonna fail. And because I was in that state, of course, then my content wasn't really speaking to people. My program offerings weren't really speaking to people. I wasn't growing on social media because it didn't come from the so-called ventral state that you want to be in, that regulated state in your nervous system. And that is why applying a lot of strategy in your business is one thing, but trust me, at that point, I have done so many strategic programs. I've done so much and I did everything to a T. Quite literally, I did everything how I was supposed to do it based on strategy. But you know what? My energy was still in the one of not enough. I was actually scared to fully be seen. I was scared to be myself. I was scared to be different. I was scared to be uniquely me. And so instead of actually showing my real self from my regulated self, I was trying to be someone the way that I thought I had to be based on all these strategies that people were teaching me, that I forgot myself in that. And because I forgot myself in that equation of, at the end of the day, I'm still the business owner, I'm still the creator of my business, it ended up not working out. It ended up not becoming what I, of course, really wanted it to become. What I had to do is regulate myself. I had to look at, okay, Jess, why are you in this state? What is making you go into this state? Why are you in this fight or flight sympathetic state? There is a reason why you're here. What is triggering that state? All of the things that I already shared with you, it all started to click. I'm trying to be someone I'm not. I'm actually scared to show who I am. I'm desperate for people to buy from me. All these belief systems were causing me to be in that state. All these stories I was telling myself about who I should be, how I should show up, really created that state of being that was not safe for me, but also for the people that were seeing me consuming my content also felt that something was off. It happens more than you think. People put themselves out there a lot. They're being consistent. I have a couple of clients right now. They're wonderful. They're so genius at what they do. And there's a disconnect from how great they are in terms of how they can help people and how they're putting themselves out there into the world online, because they're actually masking, it's like they're wearing a mask of who they truly are and what they actually want to say and who they actually want to be. And so they're in the sympathetic state of hiding their actual self and acting in a way they think they have to act. Now that I know, okay, this is what is making me go there, I regulated. What are some tools that help me regulate? If you're in sympathetic state, if you're in the fight or flight state, there's a lot of energy build up. This is also where anxiety is very common. So what really helps is to, let's say, calming energy is what helps. What is calming energy? A lot of people, when they're in this state, they tend to do more. They tend to move their bodies more. They tend to work harder because they try to outwork that state. This is making things worse. So what you got to do is slow down, grounding yourself, taking deep breaths, going on a walk, going into nature. Really this like, imagine you're in sympathetic state, which is this running, mobilized state, and we got to find the opposite, which is the opposite is, okay, slowing down, taking deep breaths, because if you're in sympathetic fight or flight, your breaths become shallow. They're not regulated, right? They're not in this very ventral space. They're actually quite the opposite. And so finding a way to slow down. I had this conversation with a client of mine, her state of being, that fight or flight state, and she said, actually, what I didn't realize is I would put on rap music, which would worsen that state, because rap music was a lot. It was, all these beats and all the text and, all these maybe vulgar language, which actually made her state even worse. And so we switched the music to slow, nervous system regulating music, alpha brainwave states, some chill step, and she noticed how her state of being changed. And it's such a small thing that we sometimes don't realize that actually makes that state worse. Scrolling on TikTok for hours or, looking at your phone first thing in the morning is going to actually make you go into that state quicker and make you stay there. So really recognizing those small things of like, okay, how can I calm myself right now? I don't need to do things faster. Like even as you're cooking, do you notice that you're rushing through the day? Do you notice that you got to get things done very quickly? Or do you slow down? This is really the difference, because the moment you slow down, you're telling your body, I'm safe, I'm good, I get to slow down. So these are small things that you can do. And then from that state, you go into your business. From that state, you create. From that state of regulation, you actually take the action in your business. The second thing that I've done, and this one is huge. I just had a client that I work with, and she's incredible. And we worked on her capacity, and she had a floodgate of new clients enter her world because she had this belief that she couldn't actually hold more people. And the moment we worked on increasing her capacity, all these new clients came into the world, which is the second thing I want to talk to you about. Increasing your capacity. One thing that I realized is at many points in my business, I actually wasn't scared of failure. I was scared of success, because in the past, and some of you will know this story, I actually had a problem where I made a lot of money in my business per month, which was the most I ever made at that point. And my body couldn't hold that. I collapsed. And that was a sign that that was the capacity my body was able to hold, or nothing beyond that. And so my body remembered that situation. My body held on to that situation of what happened. And so what I had to realize is that I had to actually increase my capacity to receive more and to invite more into my life and into my business. If that's money, clients, visibility. Every time I had a big month, my body would contract. Every time more clients would come in, my body would contract. So I really had to work on that. And so what happens is when you reach a capacity ceiling of how much you think you can hold or how much you think you deserve, which oftentimes happens on a subconscious level, you will see people, including myself, what I did, sabotage, stop selling, stop putting themselves out there, getting sick all of a sudden, picking fights with their partner, all of a sudden feeling very sad or tired, right? All of these are signs that you've reached a capacity limit. It's so interesting because I have to laugh. Because when I didn't know about this and I hit my 25K month in that business, and afterwards, people told me I was burned out, but that was my capacity. I actually became so tired. My whole body became so tired, and I became extremely depressed and sad, and nothing made sense in the world anymore. Like, it was really extreme. Would I have known I reached a capacity, because that was my biggest dream I always wanted, and at the moment I reach it, I sabotage. Instead of holding and celebrating, I couldn't do it. And it wasn't because I was working harder than ever. Of course I was working hard, but I still had a lot of downtime, and I was by the beach and I was doing all this other stuff, but it was clearly a capacity issue. And that's a nervous system aspect. How your nervous system will show you how much good you think you deserve or you think you can hold in your life. The way to increase your capacity is the moment you, for example, you sign a new client or you get a huge payment onto your account, or you have your biggest month ever, or you launch your business and people say yes to you. Whatever goal you achieve, instead of rushing through that, notice how your body's responding, right? So this is what happened to me when I hit the 25K months. My body contracted. I wasn't able to hold that. What I should have done in that moment is to hold myself in this moment of contraction and to shake it out and to regulate myself and to notice how my body's responding. I didn't notice it. I just thought something was really wrong here, but I didn't go beyond that. I didn't actually give myself the time to hold myself in this expansion, which is extremely important when you want to regulate your nervous system to increase your capacity to receive more. You got to understand that nervous system regulation is not just about being calm all of the time. It's about teaching your body that it's safe to hold more. And that's really what it comes down to. Because a lot of us, we've never been taught how to do that. A lot of us, we live in this world with just enough, right? Like, you should be grateful for what you have. I had this conversation with my client the other day, and she's breaking so many generational patterns. And she said to me, Jess, yes, sometimes it feels like I should be grateful for what I have already, right? I'm like, yes, you can be, while also you can still want more. You can still want a different life and work on your business and create a life that is truly the life that you want to live. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean you're not grateful for what is, but oftentimes we're getting stuck in this, like, it's already enough, like, be grateful for what you have. And because we've heard this for so many years, probably you heard this too, it creates this, like, even guilt sometimes. And I felt this with myself, with my body when I was expanding, and now I would see people that are worse off. I would sometimes feel like, why do I have all this and they don't have all of this? And it would make me go into this state of, like, guilt in a way, and shame. And so also recognizing that is so important. Truly, my belief is that the better you are off, the more financial resources you have, you will change the world. You can help more people because you've helped yourself. It's not the other way around. Because if you're miserable, if you're unhappy, if you don't have the financial resources, it's very difficult to help other people. But when you're healed, when you're regulated, when you're happy, when you have the financial resources, it's so much easier to help other people. It's so much easier to pick other people up, bring them with you, teach them something, right? Help them financially, help them with their healing journey, whatever that is. Okay, let's go to the third thing, which is, I love this part. I talk about this so much because this piece, everything that I share with you has changed everything in my life. I remember hearing about identity years ago from one of my first coaches, and it didn't click for me. She would always say, you can't outwork your self-image. Self-image, identity, some people say identity, self-image, same thing. And I was like, what the hell does she mean? Like, it wouldn't land in my body because I was always a hard worker. And my hard work has always gotten me to a certain level of success. If that was in school or in life, or, I would get certain accomplishments because of how consistent I am and how hard I work. But eventually you can't work harder, right? You can't do more. Like, there's only so many hours in a day, and you also need to rest and sleep and eat and do all these things and have a social life if you want to. And what I had to realize is that I wanted new results in my business. I wanted a new level of income, but my identity wasn't upgrading to that new level. I had to ask myself, well, Jess, if you know that right now the results that you have in your business is based on who you're being, you have to up-level. You have to reinvent yourself. You have to change, because it's not going to happen by you working harder. It won't. You have to start seeing yourself in a different light, because if you want to go up here, it starts with you. And so I realized for all this time, I was still showing up as the version of me that was scared to be seen, scared to be bold, scared to be polarizing, scared to say things in a certain way. So people, are going to judge me or whatever. And I was still coming from that energy to prove that I was enough. And because I was in that energy of proving I was enough, of course, I wasn't standing out. Of course, my business wasn't growing to the level I wanted it to grow. And so even when I had some level of success, it still felt like it didn't belong to me because my identity wasn't aligned with that success. And that's where I sabotaged, right? So it's very interesting to be able to reflect. And I'm inviting you to do that for yourself too, for your business, for your life. Like, where have you done that? How has that shown up for you? What I started doing is I started to show up as her. I started every day to ask myself, okay, that version of myself who has $1 million business or who has achieved this goal, like, I'm giving you goals of my clients, like if that's 5K a month or if that's a successful coach or a successful artist, like if this is the goal that I aspire to achieve, what identity do I need to show up from? how do I need to show up? And so I would go into like, okay, how would she talk? How would she move? How would she dress? How would she put herself together? Because at the end of the day, I had to become very honest with myself. And I'm like, if I want to attract high paying clients, but I'm not a master of my craft, I don't show up polished, I don't talk like someone who knows what she's talking about. Of course, there's an energetic mismatch to what I want to attract. And so it's not about faking it. It's about matching with that level of you that already exists, but she is not fully embodied yet. And this has really allowed me to quantum leap to this new level of myself. It's so interesting because these 3 tools, they have not only exploded my income, but they have truly reinvented me. And reinvention is a thing that I really love to talk about, because you got to understand that the part of you that is meant to be seen by the world, she already is there. She already exists. But she's not safe yet being expressed because of your nervous system holding you back, right? Because you don't feel safe enough yet. And so I had to realize that every time I had a new leap in my business, I took my nervous system, I took my identity, I put these 2 things together, and I was able to reinvent myself to the point that I always knew I was meant to be and I'm meant to show up from. And with that being said, I'm currently rebranding everything into my new brand, Embodied Icon. I feel like this year I've achieved for myself a wonderful level of success I'm extremely proud of. And I was able to build something that has allowed me to really look at things from another lens. And I'm starting to realize like this is only the beginning. And I want to take you with me on that rebrand, which is not only me taking you behind the scenes and showing you all the things that I think about, or all the tools that I apply, or all the thoughts that I have, but I'm also going to invite you to do that yourself, to reinvent yourself. That's why I created a 21-day experience called Reinvented Icon. This is an experience, or evolution, better said, where, again, as I said, I'm going to take you with me on my own evolution, my own rebrand, my own expansion, while I also want you to create your own alongside me. It's going to be something I've never done before, taking you behind the scenes into my deepest thoughts and emotions. And I'm so excited to bring this to you. So if you want to sign up, I'm going to put everything down below. I would love to invite you to this. It's going to be intimate. It's going to be fun. It's going to be stretching you, expanding you, making you think differently. It's going to help you find your true voice and what you're here to do and what you're here to say and who you're here to be. My intention is that by those 21 days, you will not recognize yourself anymore, and neither will you recognize your business. So I would love to see you there. Definitely sign up with the link down below. I thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. If you like this content, it always helps if you give me a like or subscribe to the channel, or even comment down below. It always helps, small creators like me to find more people with this very, very important and valuable information. So any type of interaction really, truly helps, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Sending you so much love, and until the next time, bye-bye.